Hello everyone, good morning and good afternoon. Have you noticed lately that your memory doesn't feel as sharp as it once did? Maybe you walk into a room and suddenly forget why you went there. Maybe a familiar name slips away right when you need it. Or perhaps you stop mid-sentence searching for a simple word that used to come instantly. These moments may seem small, but over time they create something much heavier: doubt. You begin asking yourself quietly, is this normal? Is my memory starting to fade? But what if I told you something important today? Small memory lapses do not have to define your future. Your brain still has the ability to adapt, strengthen itself, and create new connections even as you grow older. Modern neuroscience has proven that the human brain is far more flexible than we once believed. And what if one simple daily habit, taking less than a minute, could help wake up your focus, sharpen your recall, and reduce that mental fog that frustrates so many people after the age of 60. Stay with me carefully, because today I'm going to show you a simple neurologist-inspired exercise that may help stimulate memory and concentration naturally. No expensive equipment, no complicated routines, and no medication required. Just one chair, 1 minute, and your full attention. I am Dr. John Foster, a neurologist, and throughout my career, I've met countless men and women who came to me with the same fear. Not fear of wrinkles, not fear of getting older, but fear of losing themselves mentally. They would tell me things like, "Doctor, I forget conversations. I lose my train of thought. I feel mentally slower than before. I'm scared I'll become dependent on others." And behind those words, I could see something painful: the fear of losing independence, confidence, and identity. But over the years, neuroscience has revealed something extraordinary. The brain is not fixed. It is not a machine that simply wears out and stops improving. The brain can reorganize itself. It can strengthen old pathways and even create new ones. This incredible ability is called neuroplasticity. Think of your brain like a garden. If the garden is ignored for years, weeds begin to spread and healthy plants weaken. But if you water it regularly, expose it to sunlight, and care for it consistently, life begins to return. Your brain works the same way. The more you stimulate it correctly, the more active and responsive it becomes. Unfortunately, many people believe memory decline is completely unavoidable. Society repeats this idea constantly. People joke about senior moments. Movies portray aging as mental decline. And slowly, people accept the idea that forgetting is simply part of growing older. But this belief can become dangerous. Because when people assume nothing can improve, they stop challenging their minds. They stop reading. They stop learning. They stop engaging mentally. And without realizing it, they accelerate the very decline they fear. But science paints a very different picture. Researchers have studied individuals often called superagers, people in their 80s and 90s whose memory and thinking abilities remain remarkably strong. And what researchers discovered was fascinating. These individuals were not necessarily born different. Many simply maintained habits that continuously stimulated their brains throughout life. They stayed mentally engaged. They challenged themselves. They kept their neural pathways active. That is neuroplasticity in action. Imagine the pathways inside your brain as roads. Every time you think, learn, remember, or practice something, those roads become stronger. When you stop using them, they slowly weaken. But here is the encouraging part. Even older brains still have the ability to build and strengthen those roads again. That's exactly why this simple exercise can be so powerful. It combines physical movement, breathing, focus, and memory stimulation all at once. And when multiple brain regions work together simultaneously, the brain becomes highly active. Before I show you the exercise, let me tell you about someone I'll never forget. His name was Ramon. He was 78 years old, a retired carpenter, proud and independent his entire life. But when he came into my office, he looked defeated. His daughter explained the situation. "Doctor, my father is changing. He forgets words. He loses track of conversations. Last week he forgot his grandson's name." Ramon sat quietly for a moment before finally speaking. "It's just age," he said softly. "My brain doesn't work like it used to." I've heard that sentence hundreds of times, but I asked him something simple. "Ramon, would you be willing to give me just 1 minute a day for 4 weeks? He looked skeptical. 1 minute? He asked. "Yes," I replied, "because your brain still needs exercise, just like your muscles do." At first, he laughed at the simplicity of the routine. But he agreed to try it consistently every day. 4 weeks later, he returned to my office looking like a different man. More alert, more expressive, more confident. His daughter smiled and said, "Yesterday my son asked Ramon about a wooden toy he built years ago." And my father didn't just remember the toy. He remembered the entire story behind it. Ramon himself admitted something surprising. "At first I felt silly doing the exercise," he said. "But after the second week I noticed I could focus better. Conversations felt easier to follow, and memories started coming back more naturally." Now let me be very clear. This is not magic, and it is not a miracle cure. But it is an example of how the brain responds when it is stimulated correctly and consistently. Now it's your turn. The 60-second brain activation exercise. If possible, sit comfortably in a chair while listening. Place both feet flat on the floor. Sit near the edge of the chair with your back straight but relaxed. Rest your hands gently on your thighs. Take a slow, deep breath in through your nose and exhale slowly through your mouth. Good. We will divide this exercise into 2 simple parts. Part 1. Activation and oxygenation. First, 30 seconds. Slowly raise your right arm forward until it becomes parallel to the floor. As you lift it, inhale slowly through your nose while mentally counting to 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now slowly lower your arm while exhaling through your mouth. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now repeat the same movement with your left arm. Raise while inhaling. Lower while exhaling. Continue alternating arms slowly and calmly. Do not rush. This is not about speed. It is about focus and control. This controlled movement increases blood circulation and oxygen delivery to the brain while calming the nervous system at the same time. Now comes the second half. Part 2. The memory challenge. Final 30 seconds. Continue the exact same arm movements and breathing rhythm, but now add a mental task. Choose a simple category. For example, fruits. As you raise your right arm, say, apple. As you raise your left arm, say, banana. Then continue. Orange, grape, pear, strawberry. Keep naming items while maintaining the movement and breathing. This may sound simple, but something powerful is happening inside your brain. Your brain is now coordinating movement, breathing, focus, memory retrieval, and verbal processing simultaneously. Different brain regions begin communicating intensely with one another. The frontal lobe, responsible for attention, the cerebellum, responsible for coordination, the temporal lobe, linked to memory. This type of combined stimulation encourages the brain to strengthen neural connections, that is, neuroplasticity in action. And here's something important. If your mind suddenly goes blank during the exercise, do not panic. That is completely normal. The goal is not perfection. The goal is activation. Even struggling slightly is a sign your brain is working. Now here is how you can make the exercise stronger over time. During the first week, use easy categories: fruits, animals, colors, furniture. During the second week, increase the challenge. Choose a letter and name words starting with that letter. For example, letter B, book, bread, bottle, bridge. During the third week, try counting backwards slowly. 100, 97, 94. And after that, become creative. Name cities, countries, family members, old songs, anything that requires gentle mental effort. The key rule is simple. If the exercise becomes too easy, change the challenge. Your brain grows through stimulation, not repetition without attention. Now let me share 3 very common mistakes people make. Mistake number 1, rushing. Many people move too quickly and breathe too shallowly. That creates stress instead of calm focus. Slow movements and deep breathing are essential. Mistake number 2, inconsistency. Doing it once in a while is not enough. The brain responds best to regular repetition. Even 1 minute daily is more effective than doing 10 minutes once a week. Mistake number 3, distractions. Do not perform this exercise while watching television or scrolling your phone. That 1 minute should belong completely to your brain. Now let me give you 3 small secrets that may improve the results even more. First, drink a glass of water before starting. Your brain depends heavily on hydration to function properly. Second, begin with a gentle smile. This may sound strange, but smiling can positively influence stress hormones and mood-related neurotransmitters. Third, teach the exercise to someone else. When you explain information to another person, your own brain strengthens those pathways even further. And perhaps most importantly, be patient with yourself. Many people expect immediate dramatic results and become discouraged too quickly. But brain health is built the same way physical strength is built, through small repeated actions over time. Some people notice improvements in focus within days, others notice changes gradually over weeks, but consistency matters more than intensity. Remember this carefully. Your brain is alive, it is adaptable, it is constantly responding to how you use it. Every time you challenge your mind, move your body, breathe deeply, learn something new, or engage your attention intentionally, you are sending a message to your brain. Stay active, stay connected, keep growing. So today I want to challenge you. Do not simply listen to this information and move on. Try this exercise every day for 1 week, just 1 minute, then pay attention. Maybe you feel mentally clearer in the morning, maybe conversations become easier to follow. Maybe you notice fewer moments of forgetfulness. Small improvements matter. Because small improvements repeated consistently create transformation over time. And never forget this. Growing older does not automatically mean giving up mental sharpness, curiosity, or independence. Your brain still has incredible potential waiting to be activated. So take that first minute seriously. Not because it is magical, but because it represents something powerful. It represents a decision to care for your mind, a decision to stay engaged with life, a decision to keep strengthening the most extraordinary organ in your body. And this is only the beginning, because once people start paying attention to their brain health, something incredible often happens. They begin noticing that memory is connected to far more than just age. It is connected to sleep, to stress, to movement, to breathing, to loneliness, to hydration, to nutrition, to the way we speak to ourselves every single day. Many people unknowingly spend years exhausting their brains without ever giving them recovery, stimulation, or proper care. Then one day they wake up frustrated because they cannot focus the way they once did. But your brain is constantly responding to your habits. Every routine you repeat becomes a signal, and over time, those signals either strengthen your mind or slowly weaken it. Think about this carefully. If someone spent 20 years barely moving their body, would we expect their muscles to remain strong automatically? Of course not. Muscles weaken without activity. The brain works in a very similar way. When the brain stops being challenged, stimulated, and nourished, mental sharpness slowly fades into autopilot. That is why small daily actions matter so much more than people realize. And today, I want to share additional habits that neurologists and brain researchers often associate with healthier cognitive aging. Not complicated habits, not expensive habits. Simple things that most people can begin immediately. The first habit is something many people underestimate completely. Walking. Yes, simple walking. Studies have repeatedly shown that regular walking may support blood circulation to the brain and improve overall cognitive performance. When you walk consistently, especially outdoors, your brain receives more oxygen and stimulation. But there is another hidden benefit. Walking breaks mental stagnation. It interrupts long periods of sitting and passive behavior. Some of my patients tell me their best memories suddenly return while walking quietly in the morning. Others say ideas become clearer and anxiety feels lighter after only 15 or 20 minutes outdoors. You do not need to become an athlete, you simply need to remind your body and brain that they were designed for movement. Another powerful habit is reading aloud. Most people read silently, but reading aloud activates multiple brain regions at the same time. You are seeing words, processing language, coordinating speech, hearing your own voice, and maintaining concentration simultaneously. This is excellent stimulation for the aging brain. Even reading for 10 minutes a day can become valuable mental exercise. And do not worry about reading difficult material. Read stories, read history, read poetry, read anything that keeps your attention active. The goal is engagement, not perfection. Now let's talk about one of the biggest enemies of memory that people rarely discuss enough. Chronic stress. Stress is not just emotional, it affects the brain physically. When stress hormones remain elevated for long periods, concentration becomes harder, sleep quality declines, and memory retrieval may feel slower. Have you ever noticed that during stressful moments you suddenly forget simple things? You lose your keys, you forget appointments, you struggle to focus during conversations. That is not weakness. That is your brain operating under pressure. This is why calming routines are so important. Deep breathing exercises, gentle stretching, prayer, meditation, quiet reflection, or even sitting peacefully for a few minutes each day can help reduce mental overload. Many people think productivity means constantly pushing harder, but the brain also requires recovery. One of the healthiest things you can sometimes do for your memory is slow down for a few moments and allow your nervous system to settle. Now let me tell you about another patient named Margaret. Margaret was 82 years old when she first came to see me. Unlike Ramon, her biggest concern was not forgetting names. It was mental exhaustion. "Doctor," she told me, "my brain feels tired all the time. I can still remember many things, but it feels like thinking requires more effort than before." She spent most of her day alone at home. Television was constantly on in the background, she slept poorly, and rarely left the house. When I asked her what she did for enjoyment, she paused for a long moment before quietly saying, "I don't really do much anymore." That sentence stayed with me. Because sometimes the brain does not weaken only from aging. Sometimes it weakens from lack of stimulation, lack of novelty, and lack of meaningful engagement with life. So instead of focusing only on memory exercises, I encouraged Margaret to rebuild mental activity slowly. I asked her to start walking outside for 15 minutes each morning. I suggested she call an old friend twice a week. I encouraged her to begin reading again, even if only a few pages per day. And of course, I asked her to continue the 1-minute neuroplasticity exercise daily. 3 months later, she looked brighter emotionally and mentally. "I feel awake again," she told me. "Not young exactly, but alive." That distinction matters. Many people are not truly seeking perfect memory. They are seeking clarity, confidence, presence, connection, and often those things improve together. Now here is another fascinating truth about the brain. Novelty stimulates it powerfully. The brain loves new experiences. This does not mean you need extreme adventures or complicated travel. Even tiny changes can stimulate neural activity. Try brushing your teeth with your non-dominant hand. Take a different walking route. Listen to unfamiliar music. Cook a new recipe. Learn a few words from another language. When the brain encounters something unfamiliar, it becomes more alert and engaged. Autopilot decreases. Attention increases. And attention is deeply connected to memory. Because many people think they have memory problems when in reality they have attention problems. If your attention is divided constantly by noise, phones, stress, and distraction, information never fully enters memory properly in the first place. That is why mindfulness matters. When someone speaks to you, truly listen. When you eat, pay attention to the taste and texture. When you walk outside, notice the trees, the sky, the sounds around you. Attention strengthens memory formation. Now let's discuss sleep, because no conversation about brain health is complete without it. Sleep is not laziness. Sleep is maintenance for the brain. During healthy sleep, the brain processes information, organizes memories, and clears waste products that accumulate during the day. Poor sleep affects concentration dramatically. Some people believe they are developing serious memory decline when in reality, they are simply chronically sleep deprived. If possible, try creating a calming nighttime routine. Reduce screen exposure before bed. Keep your room dark and comfortable. Avoid heavy stress late at night when possible. And most importantly, respect your sleep instead of treating it like wasted time. Now let me ask you something honestly. How often do you speak negatively about your own memory? "I'm so forgetful." "My brain is useless now." "I'm getting old." These phrases may seem harmless, but repeated negative thinking affects motivation and behavior. The brain listens to the stories we repeat constantly. This does not mean pretending everything is perfect, but it does mean replacing hopelessness with possibility. Instead of saying, my memory is gone forever, try saying, "My brain still needs exercise and support." That shift matters more than people realize. Hope changes behavior, and behavior changes outcomes. Now, another powerful habit for brain health is social connection. Human beings are deeply social creatures. Conversation itself is cognitive exercise. When you speak with others, your brain must listen, interpret, respond, remember details, and process emotions simultaneously. Isolation, on the other hand, often accelerates mental decline. This is why maintaining relationships matters so much as people age. Call family members, spend time with friends, join community activities if possible, talk to neighbors. Even small moments of genuine conversation stimulate the brain in meaningful ways. And please remember this, you are never too old to learn something new. One of the most damaging myths about aging is the idea that growth belongs only to the young. I have seen people learn instruments in their 70s, learn painting in their 80s, learn technology in their 90s. The human brain remains capable of adaptation far longer than most people imagine. Progress may happen more slowly sometimes, but slower does not mean impossible. Now I want to return to the exercise for a moment because there is something important many people overlook. The true power of the exercise is not just the arm movement or the category naming. It is the message you send to yourself each day when you practice it consistently. That message is, I still believe my brain can improve. That mindset changes everything, because people who believe improvement is possible are more likely to stay mentally active, socially engaged, physically mobile, and emotionally hopeful. And all of those factors support cognitive health together. Let's also talk briefly about food and hydration. The brain consumes enormous amounts of energy despite being only a small portion of body weight. Proper nutrition matters. Foods rich in healthy fats, vegetables, fruits, nuts, seeds, fish, and adequate water intake may support overall brain function. Meanwhile, excessive processed foods, chronic dehydration, and constant overeating can leave many people feeling sluggish mentally and physically. Again, perfection is not required. Small, consistent improvements matter most. Drink more water. Eat more natural foods when possible. Reduce habits that leave you feeling drained and heavy. Your brain notices the difference. And let me say something very important here. Occasional forgetfulness does not automatically mean dementia. Everyone forgets things sometimes. Stress, fatigue, distraction, poor sleep, medications, and anxiety can all affect memory temporarily. That said, persistent or worsening memory concerns should always be discussed with a qualified healthcare professional, because early evaluation can sometimes identify treatable causes or helpful interventions. Never ignore serious symptoms out of fear. Fear keeps people silent when they most need support. Now imagine something with me for a moment. Imagine yourself 1 year from now after practicing small daily brain-supporting habits consistently. Not perfect habits. Consistent habits. You wake up feeling more mentally clear. You follow conversations more easily. You feel more confident socially. You remember things with less frustration. You feel engaged with life again, instead of mentally passive. That future is not built in one dramatic moment. It is built minute by minute, habit by habit, day by day. That is how lasting change happens. Many people wait for motivation before taking action, but often action comes first. Then motivation follows later. So even if you feel skeptical right now, try anyway. Try the exercise, take the walk, read the book, call the friend. Challenge your mind gently every day, because your future brain is being shaped by what you repeatedly do today. And remember something beautiful about the human mind. The brain is deeply connected to purpose. People who continue finding reasons to engage with life often maintain stronger mental energy. Purpose can be family, faith, creativity, learning, helping others, teaching grandchildren, gardening, storytelling, anything that reminds you that your presence still matters. A stimulated mind thrives when it feels connected to meaning. So do not simply focus on avoiding decline. Focus on continuing to live actively. Curiosity is powerful medicine for the brain. Wonder is powerful medicine for the brain. Hope is powerful medicine for the brain. And no matter your age, your story is still unfolding. You are not finished growing mentally. You are not finished learning. You are streaming interrupted, waiting for the complete message.